Hello my viewers and welcome to today's discussion. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe, tap the like button and feel free to be part of this conversation. Now, another video surfaced of a palm color man attempting to discredit the idea that Jesus Christ was a black man, resulting to insults and misinformation. But outcast and knowledgeable and an apologetic black sister wasn't having it. She fired back with a powerful response, exposing the flaws in his argument and standing firm on the historical and biblical evidence that supports the truth, like she has always done. Now, in this video, we are going to take a look into the conversation that's got everyone talking. We will explore the attempts to erase and palm color wash history, the importance of acknowledging the truth, and the hypocrisy of claiming skin color doesn't matter while actively working to suppress the truth about Jesus' appearance. So with that said, join me as we break down the facts, address the emotions, and get to the heart of the matter. Let's talk about the real reasons behind this pushback and why it's important to stand firm on the truth. If really skin color doesn't matter, then why did they change it in the first place? And why do they seem to find it more difficult to worship a black Jesus? Why is it like that? With that said, check out the video. I will be right back.
You have to be an exemplary type of stupid to believe that Jesus of Nazareth, Christ the King, was a black African Nubian man, a sub-Saharan African man. Let's go back to 10,000 BCE. Anatolian farmer DNA. Here's the modern distribution, but Anatolian farmer DNA is coming from Anatolia here, but it was also in the Levant. If you're completely lacking any anthropological evidence or genetic research, and you just go on dogma from the internet, then sure, you could claim that anybody at all times was black. All of these white people in history were black. Arab people and Persian people were...
My guy, first of all, you trying to call us stupid from reading from the Bible and going off based what the scriptures are saying. Not even just what the scriptures are saying, what history is even saying. So you gonna tell me that the Messiah is not of a black man when the Bible literally says that the color of his feet was the color of burnt brass that was burnt in a furnace? First of all, brass is already a black person. Let's be for real. And now burnt brass? Baby, not only was the Messiah a black man, he was a black man. Like, y'all gotta be for real. Y'all steady keep saying the Messiah is an olive skin color, an olive tone skin color. What the heck is an olive skin color? Because based off the scriptures, baby, you keep talking about an olive skin color. Well, I only know two olives, the green olive and the black olive. And based off the scriptures, the Messiah is the black olive. Based off the scriptures, the Messiah is the black olive. And I'm just being for real. I'm just being for real. Y'all keep talking about, it's not talking about woolly hair in the Bible. So it's going to say that the Messiah's hair is white as wool, as white as snow. It's already telling you the color. It says white and white as snow. So why add wool in there? That's because it's talking about the texture of the Messiah's hair. And everybody know woolly hair is of a black person. Like, come on, y'all got to be for real. Y'all got to be for real. If you scared to worship a black man, just say that. Hey, it's easier to do that than to lie on the scriptures. It's easier to just say you don't want to worship a black Messiah or a black God. Just say that. Please just say that. I promise you, it's way easier. It's way easier, bro. Because you can't fight facts with your feelings, dog. And even when I commented on your video, you couldn't even come back with actual facts back towards me. The only thing you could try to talk about was my followers and views. Like, that's the worst thing you can do to me because my literal slogan is literally facts over feelings. So you can't argue with my facts with your feelings. Like, it doesn't make sense. You keep doing all this stuff talking about he's Middle Eastern. Look at the Middle Eastern people here now. I don't care how the Middle Eastern people look here now. Everybody know back then, the Middle East was called Northeast Africa. The Middle East is literally Northeast Africa. Come on. You mean to tell me they hit a pale-skinned person in Africa? How you gonna hide a pale-skinned white person or even an even-toned person in Africa full of dark black people. They could not have hit the Messiah in Africa during those times if he was pale skinned in any type of way. He wasn't pale skinned in any type of way. Like, come on. And you trying to be funny with saying, if you look on the Wikipedia and all this stuff, then you will see that. I mean, you can use back then that everybody was black. That's because back then, everybody was black. Come on, science even tell you that the pale pigmentation is a mutation that happened throughout the years. Like, be for real. Everybody on every single part of this land, anywhere in the world, was all of dark-skinned people. There was no pale people on the land at those times. Like, y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop. Like, if you don't want to worship a black man, just say that. If you don't want to worship a black man, just say that. I promise you, it's way easier. It's way easier. If you don't want to worship a black man, it's easier to say that than to lie on the scriptures. Because everything goes against what you're saying. History goes against what you're saying. The scriptures go against what you're saying. Like, even your emotions is going against what you're saying. Because you have no facts. You just going off of just crying. For what, dog? For what? You trying so hard to prove something that you can't even prove yourself. Like, just stop. It don't even get that deep. It don't even get that deep. And a lot of y'all gonna say, skin color don't matter. If it didn't matter, why they change it? If it didn't matter, why they change it? That's because the truth matters. Because once you find out the truth about the Messiah, you'll find out the truth about who the real Jews are. Y'all don't want to know that. So, like, at the end of the day, like, you getting so mad at the people in your comments and all that stuff because you can't prove what you're trying to say yourself. Come on, everything goes against what you're saying. History, artifacts, the Bible itself. Y'all just gonna keep trying to come up with something to disprove the facts. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Y'all just don't want to worship a black man. And I understand. Y'all was taught all these years for generations and generations that y'all were superior. I understand. So it hurts to know that you're worshiping a black person. I understand. Your feelings hurt. But it's okay. We all gonna live through it. We didn't care when we was worshiping a white man this whole time based off your lies. So you don't care. I mean, remember, skin color don't matter. That's what y'all say. Skin color don't matter. So let's not make it matter. Go on about your day. Because at the end of the day, we're going to believe in Romans 3 and 4. Let God be the truth and every man a liar. And one thing I'm going to tell you is let the truth set you free.
Now, the attempt to discredit the idea that Jesus Christ was a black man is a tired and misguided effort to suppress the truth. Outcast's response was spot on, highlighting the flaws in the argument and standing firm on historical and biblical evidence, just like she always does. Firstly, the Bible itself describes Jesus as having feet like burnt brass, Revelation 1 verse 15, a clear reference to dark skin tone. Additionally, the Messiah is described as coming from the line of Shem, Genesis 9 verse 26 to 27, whose descendants were known to have dark skin. Historically, the ancient Israelites and Jews were a diverse people, with many having dark skin due to their proximity to Africa and the Middle East. In fact, the term Jew itself comes from the tribe of Judah, which was known to have African ancestry. Early Christian art and depictions of Jesus and other biblical figures often showed them with dark skin and African features. It wasn't until the Renaissance period that European artists began to palm color wash Jesus and other biblical figures to fit their own Eurocentric ideas. Now, Outcast is right. If skin color truly didn't matter, why has there been such a concerted effort to erase and palm color wash the true appearance of Jesus and other historical figures? The answer is clear. It's about power, control, and a desire to suppress the truth and maintain a Eurocentric narrative. Now let's stand with outcasts and others who are fighting to reclaim the truth and celebrate the diversity of human experience. I think it's time to acknowledge and respect the historical and biblical evidence that supports the fact that Jesus Christ was indeed a black man. Now, for centuries, the most common image of Jesus Christ, at least in Western cultures, has been that of a bearded, fair-skinned man with long, wavy, light brown or blonde hair and often blue eyes. But the Bible doesn't describe Jesus like that. And all the evidence we do have indicates he probably looked very different from how he has long been portrayed. Now, most of what we know about Jesus comes from the first 4 books of the New Testament, the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. According to the Gospel, Jesus was a Jewish man born in Bethlehem and raised in the town of Nazareth in Galilee, formerly Palestine, now northern Israel, during the 1st century. Now, we know Jesus was about 30 years old when he began his ministry, Luke 3 verse 23, but the Bible tells us virtually nothing about what he looked like, except that he didn't stand out in any particular way. Now, when Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane before the crucifixion, Matthew 26 verse 47 to 56, Judas Iscariot had to point Jesus out to his soldiers among the disciples, presumably because they all appeared similar to one another. Now, for many scholars, Revelation 1:14 to 15 offers a clue that Jesus' skin was a darker hue and that his hair was woolly in texture. The hairs of his head, it says, were white as white wool, white as snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire, and his feet were like burnished bronze refined as in a furnace. Now, some of the earliest known artist representations of Jesus date to the mid-3rd century AD, more than 2 centuries after his unaliving. Now, these are the paintings in the ancient catacombs of St. Domitilla in Rome, first discovered some 400 years ago. Reflecting one of the most common images of Jesus at the time, the paintings depict Jesus as the Good Shepherd, a young short-haired, beardless man with a lamp around his shoulders. Now, another rare early portrait of Jesus was discovered in 2018 on the walls of a ruined church in southern Israel, painted in the 6th century AD. It is the earliest known image of Christ found in Israel and portrays him with shorter curly hair, a depiction that was common to the eastern region of the Byzantine Empire, especially in Egypt and the Syria-Palestine region, but disappeared from later Byzantine art. Now, the long-haired, bearded image of Jesus that emerged beginning in the 4th century was influenced heavily by representations of Greek and Roman gods, particularly the all-powerful Greek and Zeus. At that point, Jesus started to appear in a long robe seated on a throne, such as in the 5th century mosaic on the altar of the Santa Church in Rome, now sometimes with a halo surrounding his head. Now, the ancient Israelites and Jews were a diverse people, with many having dark skin due to the proximity to Africa and the Middle East. In fact, the term Jew itself comes from the tribe of Judah, which means known to have African ancestry. Now, the Bible describes the Israelites as being indistinguishable from the Egyptians, Exodus 12:38, who were known to have dark skin. The earliest known depictions of Jesus and other biblical figures, such as the frescoes in the Roman catacomb, mosaics in the Hagia Sophia, show them with dark skin and African features. Now, the concept of race, as we understand it today, is a relatively modern construct, and Asian people did not categorize themselves or others into distinct racial groups. The idea of Jesus being palm color is a product of European art and tradition dating back to the Renaissance period. Now, many scholars and historians argue that palm color washing of Jesus and other biblical figures is a form of cultural appropriation and erasure, perpetuating a Eurocentric narrative that marginalizes Black people and people of color. The recovery of the historical and cultural context of Jesus' life and teachings is important for understanding the true meaning and significance of his message. Now, the resistance to acknowledging Jesus as a Black man is rooted in deep-seated fear of challenging the status quo and confronting the legacy of WS and articism. The idea of a Black Jesus forces palm color people to confront their own privilege and the ways in which they have benefited from systemic articism and oppression. The fact that people who have been oppressed and marginalized for centuries, Black people, people of color, bear physical resemblance to Jesus, highlights the hypocrisy and contradiction of WS. The defense of palm-colored Jesus is not just about theology, but about maintaining power and control over the narrative and the dominant culture. The acceptance of a black Jesus would require a radical shift in perspective, acknowledging the humanity and divinity of people of color and black people, and confronting the historical and ongoing injustices perpetrated against them. The fear of worshipping a black Jesus is ultimately a fear of losing power, privilege, and control, and the fear of being held accountable for the sins of the past and present. We have finally come to the end of the video. What do you have to say? Share your thoughts as well in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.